Why do we not like hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is one of the few universally disliked traits that we find in people. Everything else is kind of culturally relevant. Some people really don't like it, some people like it a little bit, some people, who knows. But hypocrisy is one of those few traits that when it is revealed, everyone, cross culturally, Aboriginals, British aristocracy, tribal Amazonian people hate it. Why is this true? Well, firstly, you need to know that if something occurs psychologically across cultures, it is inherently evolutionary. It is what we would call in evolutionary psychology a psychological module, which means that it was evolved over the course of human development, and it is therefore hardwired. It is part of your brain matter. There is no getting around it, there's no deprogramming it. It's just a part of your hardwiring. Okay? So, why would that happen? It would only happen if there is an evolutionary advantage to every human being disliking hypocrisy. What scenario would prompt such a thing? Well, essentially, if I dislike someone who gives me the impression of being a hypocrite, I'm less likely to put them in charge of things because I dislike them. Pretty much every election of anything, and again, let's think of this in terms of tribes of 100, 200, maybe max 300 people. You know this person. You've known them for a while. Maybe you don't know them incredibly well, but you've been around them your entire life. If you dislike them, you are less likely to give them power over you. So let's say we're trying to find out who's going to be in charge of the wood pile for winter. We've got a communal pile of wood, and that person's job is to give out one piece of wood every day for every family. If you're a hypocrite, the defining trait of a hypocrite is that the rules for other people don't really apply to me. I'm special. So you know what? Everyone else gets one piece of wood. I'm going to get 3 because I'm special. I deserve it. If you are in charge of the wood pile, maybe then, halfway through winter, all of a sudden, we don't have enough wood. And half the tribe freezes to death, starves to death. It is evolutionary advantageous for that person who displayed traits of hypocrisy to never be put in charge of that stuff. Now, how would we create such a scenario? Well, if everyone dislikes that person, they're not going to be put in charge of jack because popularity contests are elections. Elections are popularity contests. So, if you dislike someone, doesn't mean that you hate them to the degree that you're, going to enact violence on them. But there's just something about them you're just like, I don't like them. They're not getting put in charge of stuff. Conversely, the person that does give you signals like, man, you know what? I don't know why I like that person, but I just really like them. The reason you like them, just intuitively, instinctively, they're charismatic. They have shown signs that actually they would be a good leader. Now, the qualities of a good leader are many and multitudinous, and maybe they only display 1 or 2 of them. But you know what? That's fine. That's plenty. Because maybe that's the kind of leader you need at a certain point in time. Conversely, if you just have some intuitive disgust towards someone, that is probably because they are displaying signs that they would not be a good leader. They would not be someone good to have power over you because they will probably abuse it in a manner that will seriously negatively affect you. Because look, we're all human. We are all susceptible to hypocrisy. We're all susceptible to corruption. The defining reason why you would dislike someone because of it is they go over. They go overboard. They push it up just enough that it will affect you. A good example of this would be when Biden pardoned his son Everyone at the time was like, yeah, you know what? I don't like it. But of course, I get it. If I was in his position, I would do it too. Of course. There is almost no one who actually honestly would say, yeah, if I was in that position, I had the ability to pardon my son, I would do it. Yeah, of course, everyone's going to do that. The reason people dislike it is because right before that, he was saying, no one's above the law. No one is above the law. Oh, now you're a hypocrite. God, you're president. You've got a lot of power over me. If you're willing to bend the laws for this person to benefit you, what happens if you are given an opportunity to bend the laws to benefit you and it hurts me? You're going to do it 100%. Well, that's not good. Okay, you know what? I don't like you now. I'm not going to vote for you anymore. No. If, however, you're like, hey, you know what? This guy put a couple of his kids in positions that are good, and it's like, okay, are they like totally unqualified? No, 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 they're qualified. They're just, they got the job because they were his kids. Well, okay. I mean, I don't like it, but I'd probably do the same thing. The degree of hypocrisy that you display in public is what determines whether or not we dislike you because of that hypocrisy. Why are we talking about this now? Well, there are perhaps some people out there currently using articles and campaigns and tweets and so on and so forth to target certain people for certain things. And it turns out that they have a history of liking the things that they are now saying are terrible and horrible and evil. Hypocrisy. When I did it, when I said this was cool, well, that was fine. When you do this thing, it's horrible and evil and awful. If you're saying all of this stuff, you are not sophisticated enough to realize where that level of corruption is acceptable. How far can I push this such that, you know what, if I'm in charge of the woodpile, we're going to have a buffer. I'm going to give everybody one piece of wood every day. But I know that we've got 5 pieces in reserve if I follow that schedule. So you know what? Every, we'll say 20 days, I can give myself an extra 1 piece of wood. Okay. Is anyone affected by that corruption? Only me. My house is a little bit warmer every 20 days. No one else even needs to know about it. Is anybody going to get upset about that corruption? Maybe if it's discovered, but why would it ever be discovered? However, if I am bragging, I've got an extra 3 pieces of wood. You should come over to my hut. It's warm and toasty in there. Well, now all of a sudden, you're an enemy. Now all of a sudden, you clearly can't be trusted because you're not sophisticated enough. You're not smart enough to know where the line is. This is direct evidence that, hey, you are untrustworthy because you're a hypocrite, of which we all are and can be, but also you're a dumb hypocrite. That's really bad. That's really rough. You need to be ousted from anything even remotely approximating a position of power or influence because you cannot be trusted at all in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know. What do you guys think about hypocrisy? Is it good? Should we all just embrace it and say, hey, you know what? We're hypocrites. Enlightened self-interest. What's good for me is good for everyone else. Okay, that's an interesting debate. I'd love to have that debate. That being said, good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I shall say farewell for now.